All right, guys, this is a lecture that is being prepared for Chapter 15, Global Health and Community-Based Care. This will take about 10 to 15 minutes. You are responsible for the content in here. However, I have different things that will cue you into the more important things to know and study for the testing of that will include this chapter. So we're going to get started here. Globalization, defined as the development of an increasingly integrated global economy marked especially by free trade, free flow of capital, and the tapping of cheaper foreign labor markets. Globalization is a challenge for nursing as illness is no longer contained by geographical boundaries, nor is anyone protected from events occurring in distant places. And we most recently seen this when Ebola started moving around through the airlines, and we were seeing it in different places, and it was popping up. Now it seems like we got a good handle on that as far as spreading from place to place, but there's other things that we've seen like SARS that have moved around, H1N1 that moved around, and so anyway, that's the whole idea of this, that health needs to be understood as a global concept, not just in our own backyard. So developing a global view of nursing, the ANA Nursing Code of Ethics says nurses have a professional responsibility to the global and international community. Nursing's commitment to health promotion, welfare, and safety extends to all persons requiring consideration of not only clients, but the health concerns for community, national, and international issues. You know, and we see that with Doctors Without Borders and medical missions. You know, nurses are involved in all of that stuff. You know, you yourself may someday be involved in something without any of the boundaries and being going through and helping out with international issues. I included a few of the issues down there: world hunger, environmental pollution, lack of access to health care, but there's plenty of things that we could think about that are international issues versus just issues that we're dealing with in our own community. So this next slide is about the Millennium Development Goals. As you see, this is developed by the United Nations. It talks about their different goals that they want to have happen for healthcare. You notice a couple of them are red, so you may see that stuff again, but it's good to be familiar with all of these because it's you know, something that's very important, much like how we have a Healthy People 2020 here. This is for the entire world, so important for all of us, and especially in the United States since we head up a lot of things throughout the world. Environmental health is defined as the effects of various chemical, physical, and biological agents, as well as the effects on the health of the broad physical and social environment, which includes housing, urban development, land use and transportation, industry, and agriculture. The components of environmental health are the quality of the environment, the physical environment, which includes air, water, and soil through the exposure to chemical, biological, and physical agents, and the social environment, which reflects where individuals live and work and has a profound influence on one's health. And we can kind of relate this back to things that we did sort of talk about before as health promotion. You know, we talked about workplaces and having no smoking on their campuses or things like that. You know, so social environment does have a lot to do with our health. So the environment health in the United States, Healthy People 2020 goals create social and physical environments that promote good health for all. So what's the nurse's role in this? Assessment and intervention. So one of the examples that your books talked about was the nurse going in and doing home assessments for lead where children live. And in our own community, we do have that. We have kids that are given WIC, or their families are provided with WIC. They have to take their children to be tested for lead. Advocating for policies that improve environmental quality, such as the air quality. And I wanted you to notice the statistic on page 421 that says Black children are 2 times more likely to have asthma than white children. And you know, why do you think this is? And it is it the air quality? And sure enough, it does talk about air pollution in that same same part of the book, that, you know, your places that are in more poor areas or have lack of you know, healthy things that we need. I mean, even most recently here in Flint, we have not had good water, you know, so same thing for this. You know, just to know that race and you know, the poor children, people that live in areas that have higher risk to pollutions, they have more breathing issues. Assurance of environmental sustainability through ensuring access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation and attending to the needs of the world's slums dwellers. There are environmental health as a global issue. We're also looking at the air and water pollution, which we see even in our own community, infectious disease and chemical hazard, injuries, and prevention. And this right here is important as well. An estimated 25% of preventable illnesses are attributed to poor environmental qualities. So, that's important to know. I mean, that's a quarter, and that's a lot. And so we want to try to get, that had a much lower statistic to prevent these illnesses that we don't want to see. The global health disparity increasing between developed and developing countries. Least developed countries are considered the poorest and weakest countries, where extreme poverty, weak economies, and infrastructure weaknesses impede efforts to improve quality of life. We see that often, even in just pictures and commercials that show these less developed countries where there is extreme poverty, that their quality of life is very poor. Global health disparity also includes difference in health and access to health care, services by gender, age, race, or ethnicity, education or income, disability, geographic location, or sexual orientation. So these are some vital statistics that I plugged in here for you. You'll want to know these. Over 1.2 million people die each year in traffic accidents worldwide. Almost half who die are pedestrians, cyclists, or people driving motorized two-wheel vehicles. And what's interesting for me on this is that I went to Thailand last year, and pretty much everybody's on a moped there, and there's a lot of accidents and there's not a lot of rules or law enforcement to navigate this traffic. So there's a lot of people going whatever way they want to go. Really opened my own eyes to why it's important that we have the driving laws that we have. 48% of the population, of the worldwide population, is without basic sanitation. That is pretty sad. We take that very much for granted here where we live. 2 million deaths per year attributed to air pollution. And the leading cause of death in 2004 and projected to be the leading cause of death in 2013 is ischemic heart disease. Emergency preparedness, defined as the development of plans and capabilities for effective disaster response, which includes coordinating, planning, and communicating with the public in order to promote understanding of and response to public health emergencies. And we really have seen a lot of this change within the healthcare community. Many different hospitals and public health care places have all developed some kind of emergency preparedness. We even see it in our schools now. Almost everybody has some kind of a lockdown. So this is something that has been being developed over, the last decade, I would say. Potential health threats include bioterrorism, chemical hazards, radiation emergencies, mass casualties, natural disasters, and weather and epidemics. So disasters are unpredictable but occur regularly. So natural disasters, which we see a lot in the news: earthquakes, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, and wildfires. Most recently, major flooding. They cause billions of dollars in damage and take thousands of lives. We want to have early response and rescue work. And community preparedness must include consideration for the outreach to most at-risk populations. And I know the book talked about Hurricane Katrina and how the at-risk populations, they just were not prepared for this. So epidemics and pandemics. A pandemic is an epidemic or outbreak of an infectious disease that occurs over a wide geographic area and affects an exceptionally high proportion of the population. So the H1N1, like we talked earlier, the different diseases that are getting on the planes and going back and forth, and we're spreading them around. So it's essential to maintain local, state, national, international vigilance to assist with early detection and reporting. And I think we, again, saw a really good job with that with the Ebola outbreak. Immunizations for us as healthcare workers minimizes the spread of infection. So all of you and me and anybody else who's working in any kind of healthcare facility or have a requirement to get a flu vaccination. So, that's something that's going to continue. We're going to see there may even be more added in the future. Immigrants and refugees, just to know the difference between these. So the three there are listed, legal immigrants, refugees, undocumented workers. Their needs are varied, but we see a lot within each one of those groups. Access to systems of care, their cultural impact and language barriers. They don't have a lot of prevention the book was talking about from their home countries, so they're not really knowledgeable when it comes to getting preventative care. And lack of health insurance. So nursing advocacy and global health. Advocacy definition, plead someone's cause or act on someone's behalf. Awareness campaigns and membership into groups that support international advocacy. And the trend in international health is to focus and support prevention and sustainable efforts. Concentration is on developing rapid response and using short-term assignments. So, that's again, if you were to see like medical missions or the Doctors Without Borders or different things, they want to make a quick response in an emergency and try to stay there as little as possible, just so, more people aren't infected and we're not continuing the spread. They want to wrap it up. So, global nursing shortage. So we've been talking about nursing shortage a lot. You notice that nurses make up the largest group of healthcare providers in the whole world. And then issues contributing to our shortage, two of them that I want you to just keep in mind. The worldwide population is aging, and we see that here in the United States as the age increases for people living longer, and our shortage of nursing faculty worldwide, which again goes back to why we want to encourage you as nursing students coming up to continue on your education, because you may not stop with your associates and you may continue, so someday you'll be educating future nurses as well. So in summary, globalization requires nursing to expand our scope and emphasis of community-based care to include the global community. Nurses must be informed and competent to deal with global health issues. The need for international advocacy will intensify as the international nursing shortage transpires, and we must look at the world as a client. Thank you, and check out your Blackboard assignment for this lesson. Thanks.